I thought it was very interesting, actually. If you get the Hatamoto title, so just to let the viewers know, to get a Hatamoto title, you have to go undefeated in one full day of tournament play. So that means for Owen, when he was at Gen Con playing in the release event, he had to win 5 games and not lose a single game. So that means that when Terry comes in here, he has a chance to get a special prize, a special pin for beating a Hatamoto, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah, it's a really nice little way they're trying to encourage clan loyalty, especially the Hatamoto status. Because obviously with the LCG format, it doesn't enforce clan loyalty in the same way that a CCG would. So when they're trying to maintain that spirit of L5R that matters to so many members of this community, making the most competitive players, giving them that incentive to stay loyal to their clan. Because if you are Hatamoto for the crowd clan, as Owen is, if he was to play a different clan in this event, he would lose his Hatamoto status.
Really?
Yeah. You get to keep it for 2 years from whenever you earned it, and anytime you win another event or get Hatamoto another event, that period refreshes.
Oh, okay.
But if you ever abandon your clan, you immediately lose your Hatamoto status.
That's really nice, because we're both long-time L5R players. I mean, we're talking like 15-year veterans of the game, of old 5R, as we call it in the group. So clan loyalty is something that we both value very, very, very dearly, I would say. Well, maybe me a little bit less.
And he likes winning, but then again, he never did it. So
you
only ever won playing your own clan. That's
true. That's true. I was a Mantis player back in the day.
The hands are shaking. We stop talking about ourselves.
These two players know each other quite well. They're both crab players from.
Terry's playing Phoenix today.
Terry is playing Phoenix today, but they're both historically crab players and both also veterans of the game as well.
Okay, so we've got a bunch of neutral characters for Terry. So in this 30-30 format, you're going to see an awful lot of a few of the same characters popping up in every deck because the pool of characters to build your deck from is quite limited. The Wandering Ronin is, you see Terry's flipped 2 of them, and it's just to make up space in your deck. You've got to run him. He's not very good. Oh, is that Casada? That's Casada. Okay, so Owen is going for the big play. Turn 1 Casada with 2 fade over. Owen is the first player by the looks of things, so that's all his fate for the turn.
Yeah.
That's everything. He's going to get to pass first now, unless Terry doesn't want to buy anything, which I would advise against. But yeah, the turn 1 Casada play in this format is very tough to answer.
It's got to be a back-breaking, and immediately coming out of the gates with that kind of a swing is just. Terry's he's gonna be on the back foot pretty early.
There are outs here. Don't get me wrong. I thinking about it, the probably easiest out he's got, unfortunately, is to flip his own clan champion in turn 2 and buy her. But he's going with the Wandering Ronin, and he's over-investing in him quite heavily. So the Wandering Ronin's ability, he's a 2 military, 2 politics, bushy, unaligned, so he's going to be turning up in everybody's decks. And his ability is you can remove a fate from him to give him +2/+2. So effectively, he's quite an expensive big guy. So Terry here, by putting the extra fate in him like that, it's probably the best he could have made of that flip. Saved himself 1 fate. And now he has options with that Wandering Ronin. He can either keep him around, so Owen's bidding 1, and Terry bid 5.
Ooh, interesting
So
play.
the honor totals should be, we need to get these right. Crab start on 10, Phoenix start on 11, and Owen should have gained another 4 there. Owen should be on 14, and the Phoenix player should have lost 4.
So going to 7. Interesting play from Terry there. That's
a rookie play. Yeah.
I'm not sure. Honestly, I think if you're going to... He's on the back foot. He needs cards. He needs fate.
He needs something to get him out of trouble for sure, but in this format especially, when you bid that high that early, it really constrains your options for future turns. Yeah, especially playing against Crab, who have a number of dishonor elements in their deck anyway.
Yeah.
So bidding 5 is a way. So Owen's going for the Void Ring with Casada.
Good play here because he's going to try and hamstring the options that Terry has
and
with his.
That's a pilgrimage. So unlikely that the province is 5 strength, and its effect is that the Ring of Void in this case wouldn't resolve if Owen didn't break the province. But right now he's breaking it very much.
Yeah.
Casada's 7 military. He's going to get the job done pretty easily.
Now, going back a little bit to Terry's play here, I just want to comment. This is Okay, this is a little bit contrary to, and very much characteristic, I would say, of the new L5R. You can see that the action is high from the very beginning. I mean, these are huge plays that we're seeing. We're seeing Quesada coming out turn 1 with 2 fate. That's Owen all in with all his fate. He's pot committed to Quesada. And you see Terry like sacrificing so much honor to get card draw.
So
interesting situation here.
There's no way he can defend. Even doesn't matter what he's got in hand.
No, because
with Quesada's ability to burn the first. Cloud the Mind. So Cloud the Mind is going to blank Quesada's text box. He can play that because of his Mia Mystic there, having the Shugenja keyword. So that means Quesada's ability to negate actions will no longer be relevant. He's still 7 force.
This is interesting because it now means that Terry does have. Okay,
no,
it's not as interesting as one might have thought. So the province is broken. The card gets discarded from it, and that's going to be Owen claiming Void.
Yeah, so we'll expect to see Fate stripped off that Wandering Ronin.
Exactly, limiting Terry's options to go on the offensive now.
If he wants to use that Ronin to take a province now, it means he's going away.
Yeah.
Before he had that extra Fate, it meant that he could afford to pump the Ronin and still have him in play next turn. And again, bearing in mind that Owen is going to be flipping again next turn, still have Quesada in play, who's a big value investment, and then bring out whatever else he's bringing. If Terry winds up resetting his board here, that puts him in a really deep hole. So Terry's going for the Ring of Earth.
That's another good play, I would say. You're trying to. Owen's been. He's only bid for 1 card.
Yeah.
So you're trying to get some sort of hand lock going on him.
He's got to take advantage of the fact that he took those 5 cards. And looking at what rings are available, Fire, Quesada's Glory is so low, there's no real benefit there. Water, Quesada's already bowed, no real benefit there. And Air, there's an argument maybe to be made for taking Air after going for that big 5-card draw. You've already got card advantage now, so maybe you want to try and
stabilize the honor.
Yeah, exactly, because you can really wind up limiting your options if you let your honor go too low. But I think, like with Owen only drawing 1, if Owen had drawn 2 or 3. But with Owen only drawing once, Owen's dropping a court games to dishonor the Mia Mystic, which leaves her on 0 force.
Yeah,
so she's not taking the ring now.
Yeah. With no force contribution, there's no winner in a conflict. All right, no power, political contribution, he is going for a political.
It must be political because he played the court games. Yeah.
So that leaves Owen with 4 cards in hand, right? Am I right?
Should be, yeah.
And Terry will have a whopping
many cards.
Many cards. Maybe 8 or 9 cards in hand. Still, it makes it really, really interesting. It makes for a really interesting game here. You're going to see Terry at the end of the turn. He's going to have no board.
Well, depends on what he's planning on doing with that Wandering Ronin. The fact, with the Mia Mystic, he wasn't trying to break a province. He literally just wanted to take Earth for the sake of getting the cards. We can't see what that province is, unfortunately.
Yeah, a little bit clear.
If it's a 4-strength province, then the Ronin can now go in safely, knowing what's there, and take it, because he's not going to risk running into some unpleasant trap. But that does mean, as you say, Terry's going to wind up wiping his board. And with only another Wandering Ronin showing, Owen has a Yuzuki, I don't know that guy's name, the Vanguard who puts fate on your guys, and the Atomo Courtier. Actually, Terry's in a position to maybe have a... Owen's left a pack of losers face up in his provinces. You can't really afford to discard in this format and filter for something better. But Terry's seeing 3 more cards next turn, and if he sees a high-quality personality from his clan, that'll help.
Yeah.
The potential for Shiba, that's his own court games to re-honor. Court games again, it's a powerful card. It's like the standard way of pumping. Yeah, it's a staple. It's a primary pump in political conflicts. They've only got 2 each in the deck, so that represents a significant expenditure of political material for each player here.
And very cagey. This is a match or a conflict currently that only has 1 card committed to it, one character committed to it. And you can already see, like, there's a lot of back and forth.
The interesting question here, right? So Owen he's played another card. What's he trying to protect in his hand? Like all
this
that was
is
what that was going to
huge.
happen there, right? He had 4 cards in hand. If he'd lost the ring, Terry draws a card, Owen discards a random card.
Yeah.
Now he played 2 cards to stop that from happening.
Which is, I mean,
and Owen's going to lose 3 honor for playing that assassinate as well.
that's massive. I would say that seems like a. Because he didn't actually draw much out of Terry's hand, right?
Yeah.
He drew a court games, which is a big card to draw out of someone's
And
hand.
Owen claims Earth.
And he tries to claim Earth militarily
And
now with the Wandering Ronin.
The Ronin's going in. Oh, nobody claimed Earth. You're right.
Nobody claimed it, so he's going to try and claim military.
What's he trying to protect in his hand? What's so important in his hand that it's like, if he discards this from my hand,
could it be a
it's
way of
worth
the crab?
playing? Maybe that's it.
It's a power card, but with the current board that he has, he's got no one to sacrifice. He's got no sacrificial lambs to use
but
way the crab
so
with.
again, if Terry is so Terry's dropped a katana by the looks of things.
to
take the province, so he isn't wiping his. Oh no, there you go. He is wiping.
Oh,
his
he
board.
is wiping currently.
Yeah.
We can't really see what that province is because maybe it's a 5-strength province.
So,
and that
so that with that hanging on to that way of the crab, if it is a way of the crab,
was that a pilgrimage as well, or is that the? I can't really.
Oh,
see.
so there's the Earth going, and what does he hit? We'll never know.
We'll never know. That could have been critical.
But the thing is, like, so the way Terry gets back in this game now is to flip Shiba Sakune and overinvest in her.
Yeah.
If Owen's Way of the Crab got discarded, then he has no answer to that. And the Sakune flip in 30-30 is unanswerable. She turns up, she goes, I'm here, I'm claiming infinite value every turn, and there's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
I'm winning this game.
Yep.
So the only answer he had to that was his Way of the Crab. So that would make sense. So Casada's hanging around, and Terry's board wipes.
But I think that's an acceptable trade. That's a province broken on either side. Casada's now down to 1 fate. And
that was a pilgrimage on Owen's side.
It was a pilgrimage, okay. So that was a 5-strength province
so
that he had to break. So he had to use the pump from Wandering Ronin.
And Terry takes the first player token. Both players refresh their fate pools.
And the favor was won there by
no one. No favor, which is, again, the favor is super important because everyone's running the Atomo and the Sepun. So Owen flips a funeral pyre, 2 personalities, 2 characters, I should say. And Terry's got a nice flip of 2 Phoenix characters, a Keeper Initiate, and the Wandering Ronin is still there from before. So
interesting times here. Interesting times. So what you'll see, just to explain for those of you who are new to the game and new to L5R, what we have here is we've got, after every turn, any rings that were not claimed have some fate on them.
They should, yes. Both players should be 1 point of honor lower. Owen should actually be 2 points of honor lower. Good work, Twitch chat.
Very on the ball. So what I was saying about the unclaimed rings will now accumulate fate for every turn that they were unclaimed or uncontested or unclaimed.
Uncontested, yeah. You claim the fate off. No, the unclaimed rings at the end of the turn get fate put on them.
Yes.
When you go to contest a ring, you gain the fate off it.
There you go.
So you don't need to claim the ring to take the fate.
Yeah.
But if the ring is unclaimed at the end of the turn, it gets the fate added to it.
So, and as we go further into the game, especially now for Owen, fate is going to become a really, really, really big resource for him, a really important resource because his hand is so small. He's going to need to be able to, well, he's going to have to compensate, I would say, for that with board presence. So he's going to have all of his characters out on the board and spend a lot of his fate basically on bringing people into play.
So Owen's bought the Shrewd Yuzuki, which he flipped the Funeral Pyre this turn, so the Yuzuki's ability to draw him extra cards is going to come online. And is that? I can check. Apologies, viewers. Our view of the table is a little glary, which hopefully we'll be able to resolve between rounds.
But most of the players that I've been talking to, some of the veteran players of L5R, some of the people who've played at Gen Con as well, have been saying that turn 2 is really when things start to heat up in the game.
Yeah. So that's down to the fact that in the first turn, both players have a very limited amount of fate to bring characters into play, and they have nothing held over from the previous turn. And so here come the dials. Owen bids 1 again. Terry bids 1. Terry's really in a position now where he's not going to be able to bid more than 1.
He doesn't want to. He doesn't. I don't think he's made that sacrifice early in the game to give himself a pool of cards that he can now. Basically, he's set himself up for the rest of the game. I'd say with that 5-on-1.
He has and he hasn't, because against Quesada especially, where you're going to have to burn actions to get anything done, that's going to cost you cards.
Yeah, yeah.
Ring of Earth's always on the table. That could potentially cost you cards. If he's going for Ring of Earth, there's always a chance that he's going to hit Owen's Defend the Wall province, which lets Owen resolve the ring on defense. That's going to potentially cost him cards.
Yeah.
If he ever needs to draw cards again, he's really in trouble.
Yeah.
Whereas if you take a slower approach to it and you draw 2 cards, 3 cards,
well, I mean, he's
you
going to
can fuel yourself up for the current turn.
Very true.
And
Very
keep
true.
yourself the option of refueling later if you need it.
This is the beauty of the new game. I mean, this is one of the critical points of new L5R, of the redesign of L5R. This card,
Vengeful Berserker.
the card economy and the honor economy are 2 incredibly important things in the game. And I mean, usually in games, if you've played a lot of card games, one of the most important things in card games is card draw. So being able to get cards into your hand from your deck. Here you have that potential. You have infinite potential almost to get cards
And
into
no
your hand.
hand limit either.
No hand size limit, but there's a massive cost in that it's going to limit, as you say.
Unless you're really clever and you never have to pay your honor because you read your opponent really well.
And that's another thing. That's another subtlety
Okay,
of the
so
game.
we have for Terry the naive student, who is a -2 courtier who will draw a card when he leaves play. Speaking of card draw. And the other one is the Radiant Orator, who's a 3-cost 1/2 with 2 glory, who can send people home.
So interesting play from Terry here. He's going to go for a political earth. We can't really see what that province is.
He's smart. I feel like he's smart to keep taking earth here. Because of that reason, I said that he can't afford to do a big refuel off the dial anymore, so he needs to keep his cards flowing from somewhere.
I'm not quite sure what just happened there with the bowing of the...
He's dash, so if it was the wrong kind of conflict,
what
I expect happens is that he walked into a rally to the cause, the conflict type got switched on him, and because he doesn't have the relevance, that he goes home bowed.
Yeah.
So the Vengeful Berserker is defending.
So it's now military conflict.
The Vengeful Berserker, who will double his strength. If one of Owen's characters is sacrificed this turn. He's very strong. So I would expect to see this battle going Owen's way.
And there's no one here contesting this battle. This is just Owen's. This is Owen's ring to claim, basically.
Is the Radiant Orator not there?
No,
it was just the Initiate.
Just the Initiate that went in.
Okay.
Oh.
So we're seeing the Ishikin Initiate hit the table as a conflict character. She gets +1/+1 for every claimed ring. Currently there are no claimed rings, so she's just a 1/1 Shugenja.
Both these players, it's interesting to note that both these players know each other quite well, actually. So in Europe, I think especially, it's a very tightly knit community in L5R. Terry and Owen, being historically of the same clan, would definitely know each other and would know each other's play styles quite well.
Yeah.
We've both played against both these players in tournaments, I feel. I know Owen to be... He's a very thoughtful player, but when he knows what he... When he decides on a line of play, he's incredibly decisive and fast.
Very much so. That's probably the thing that would characterize Owen as a player more than anything to me. He sticks to his line.
Yeah, he does. He does. And usually, I mean, he's quite a knowledgeable player. He is a Hatamoto, so he has already proven in the new format that he does have a good handle on the game. And I would think when he does have a line of play and he plays it decisively, he's usually playing a position of strength.
The Ishikin is getting an Ancestral Daisho. And it looks like he's pumped up her glory with the Stronghold too while we were withering. And Owen is going to use the Stronghold to increase the Berserker's strength by 1.
So this is currently the Berserker is just a 3.
He's at 4 now.
He's
thanks
4.
to the Stronghold.
4. So he's 4 thanks to the Stronghold. He's looking to just sort of either get parity in this one or just stall him out. I think Owen's he's trying to slow play as much as possible.
Owen's hand is so low right now. Like, he's at a serious disadvantage card-wise. And he's still, whatever he was trying to protect before, he's obviously still trying to protect because he defended the Ring of Earth.
Yeah.
So he needs to, tying this battle isn't enough for him. He needs to, like, it's not enough to save the province. He needs to, here's the Bonsai coming down.
Okay.
So that's going to put the Ishikin up to 3-7.
Question is, does he trigger it again to...
we have no way of knowing, but I'm going to go ahead and assume the answer is yes.
Yeah, I think that would be the stronger play from Terry to proc it twice, so that he gains the 4 military power here. Because you can only assume that Owen is going to try and sacrifice something to try to... Oh, no, that was it.
That was it.
That was it.
Mission accomplished. Oh.
So
he saved the province by the looks of it.
Save the province, but Earth will get claimed. And I feel like that was a very... That was very costly for both players actually there. I think there was a lot
so
committed
we saw
to that.
3 cards played from Terry.
Yeah.
Owen's down to 2 cards in hand. That's not a good place to be.
Never a good place to be. I think Terry's in a really, really good spot at the moment.
Now, Owen is going for water with his Shrewd Yuzuki. He's going to try and straighten his Berserker. Oh, the Atomo Courtier is going too. Terry is considering his many options.
Still a stacked hand for Terry. I mean, we can't actually see how many cards are in there, but we know having a lot of cards in hand makes you able to play from a real position of strength.
Absolutely.
And I think Terry is. I feel like he's got a good handle on this game at the moment. I mean, Quesada is going to stick around for another couple of turns.
The Cloud the Mind is like Quesada's impact. He doesn't have to be in the conflict to do his thing. His ability just shuts down your board no matter what. So that Cloud the Mind was a really fortunate draw for Terry because it did let him stabilize a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, it allows him to keep that advantage in his hand.
Yeah.
Because I can only imagine, like, going through my...
So the Yuzuki has gone home.
And this is, I would say this is characteristic of how Terry plays. Having played Terry before, I know he's quite a methodical player. He wants to think through all of his options. He wants to take...
Well, Yuzuki just did it, so Owen was still deciding his attack. And it's Kuromori. So I assume we're just going to see Terry switch the conflict type here and send Owen's Courtier homebound again, as she has that dash military value.
That would be... I feel like that would be the right play. But it does mean that water is going to get claimed.
No, it's not. The Yuzuki didn't go.
Oh, that's true, actually. That's true. Yeah.
Off she goes. Nothing happens. Unless he defended. Did he? He must have. If he's thinking of, he's thinking of doing something else. Oh, he's going to drop the spies at court. That would be pretty backbreaking.
Oh God.
He should do it. Can he play that? Can he play that if you win a defense? If he can play it, he should.
We're furiously looking through our stack of cards here to to try and get the wording. And we're not going to do it in time, I think.
No, but it looks like he didn't play it.
Okay, he didn't play it.
The orator goes on bow, so she was defending.
Which
means water got claimed.
Water does get claimed, so that means he gets to bow or straight.
Try again. He's going for air. He's going to go for dishonor.
Okay, this is. I feel like this is a. This is sort of a desperation switch from on.
Not at all.
You don't think so?
No, it's perfectly reasonable. I mean, with 4, so this will drop Bradley. So in fact, this will drop Bradley to 3 because he's going to lose 1 for the unopposed battle. He's going to lose 1 for the unopposed. He's going to lose 1 from air.
Yeah. Actually, yeah, you're right.
That puts you right on the cusp of death. Like, especially because there's 2 of the most powerful cards in the conflict deck that everybody must run because the deck building is so limited in 30-30 is Assassination, which is at 3 honor cost.
So he now cannot play that card.
Yeah.
It removes 2 cards from his deck and a very powerful card at the same time.
Owen's drawing with the Yuzuki because of his funeral pyre. Puts 1 to the bottom. Keeping that Yuzuki around for another turn is going to be a big deal. I would expect to see him sacrifice something, probably the Atomo Court here before the turn is up.
I would only imagine. Because card draw now is king for Owen. If he
He's
if
so
he gets,
important.
because he's actually now put himself in a position where he can bid high next turn. Terry has to bid low because he's so dangerously close. Is Terry on? He's not on
Terry's
3
going to
yet
be on 3 when this conflict
when this conflict is over. So yeah, it's going to be.
Yeah, so there was the Atomo Courtier went to the Funeral Pyre. So that's refueling Owen's hand even a little further.
So Owen's I think quickly
he's
turning
dropping
himself.
Good Omen.
Good
on
Omen
Quesada
to add some
another
fate to
keep him in
yeah,
play.
yeah.
Terry's reading the
important
card.
play.
Never a good sign.
Never a good sign.
What does that do?
Oh! I should have had 2 of those in my deck.
Owen claims heir, so we're going to see Terry drop
And breaks
2
the
more
province.
points of honor, and Owen gains 1.
So again, important to remember that there is a tie-breaking point system. We are still working under the point system from Gen Con, right?
I'd say we should clarify on that with Alex Watkins before we
very much so.
say with certainty. So Owen's like his hand is under great fierce pressure. He's in a strong position this game.
He is like that turn very much put him well back in this, because this means that he can very easily, like I said before, draw 5 cards with impunity, almost with impunity.
The thing is, I don't think he wants to.
He probably won't. He probably won't draw 5.
Like if he draws 5, that puts Terry back in the game on honor.
But he can
wants to keep his bid low. And like
he
Terry's
can draw
hand
3. He can very easily draw 3.
I don't know that, like, having Terry on 3 is such, that just puts him in such an awkward position and so close to just losing at any minute that you don't want to let him back. You don't want to take your foot off that throat. I would be surprised. Well, okay, Owen's a better player than me. He's played more than I'm not a Hadamoto. If I was in Owen's position right now, I'm bidding 1 for sure.
Okay. Well, we'll see very soon. I mean, he's quite stable in terms of fate. Let's see what he has in his provinces.
He ditched his funeral. He's got another Imperial Storehouse. That's another point of card draw for him.
Yeah. Hard to see what he actually has there.
He's got a Hida Casada. Oh, sorry, in the provinces.
In the provinces.
He's got an Atomo Courtier, a Mia Mystic, and I think a Sepun Guardsman, and an Imperial Storehouse.
But interestingly,
so the Mia Mystic is coming out. She's a necessary element here. Her ability to remove attachments from play is like she's quite overcosted for what she brings to the table, but it's just something that you need to have. So the Atomo Courtier is coming out with a little bit of overspend. And so we're seeing a Sepun Guardsman coming out from Terry and another Wandering Ronin. Owen is building up a board for next turn. Now, he is in a position this turn where he's kind of vulnerable to the Void Ring, more so than he has been previously. Removing that extra point of fate from Quesada would be costly. Whereas the Void Ring is a little more attractive this turn with the 1 point of fate on it as well. So, looking at this, we're going to see the dials coming out now in a minute, I think. Okay, here come the dials. And let's see if I was right. What kind of line is Owen going to follow here? It's the first time really I feel the dials are going to be that there's going to be some bluff and counterplay. Owen goes for 1. That's what I thought. Bradley looks like he also went for 1. Terry, yeah. So the honor totals don't move, which had to be the correct play for both players there. I think keeping Terry's honor under that much pressure wouldn't have been worth drawing all these extra cards. I think he's in such a difficult spot, such a limited spot in what his options are, that's not something Owen wants to let him back into the game. Like that's an axis of play along which Owen doesn't want to give him any breathing space. So Owen's the first player this turn. He's got a nice healthy board. It gives him options in this game. You rarely have the options to do absolutely everything you want. But having a board as well developed as Owen's is at the moment means he can consider doing more than 2 conflicts. He can look at defending his provinces. He can look at going for multiple rings on the attack. And what are we going to see? So the Mia Mystic, of course. Oh, he's removing the Cloud the Mind from Quesada. That's going to make a difference. So Owen has removed the Cloud the Mind from his Casada.
Yeah,
to be a Mystic.
the obvious play.
Yeah.
I was thinking that just as soon as he got the Mia Mystic out, that's the obvious play. You know, try and push that advantage.
So
with
and they
Casada
did
now.
both bid one.
So interesting update I got from the head judge, Alex. So the way they're going to do tiebreakers in this one is there is going to be a moment at the end of the game. So if you're in your draw step or if you're in the deciding whether or not you have the Imperial favor, the game will basically, at that point, both players will be given the option. The active player is given the option first to, if they want to concede or pass.
So Owen is doing his political conflict.
He's flipping some rings around.
Well, the deals are still flipped from the previous turn.
He's looking. It is blue
and
on one
it's
side.
going to be
Owen.
water, so he's going to go to try and bow out Terry's defenders. Terry really needs to defend the Ring of Air very aggressively here.
Yeah.
And also by bowing out defenders, he's increasing the likelihood that the next conflict will have
will be uncontested.
Exactly.
Yeah. So Owen's playing the numbers game right now. So what I was saying was the new tie-breaking element is both players will be given the opportunity to concede at the end of the game. Now, what?
There's an assassination in hand, all right. Dead card.
Ooh, dead card indeed.
He can't play that Spies at Court really either now. And it's a shameful display. So the shameful display will honor one of Terry's defenders and dishonor one of Owen's attackers.
I'm going to take a moment at the end of the game to. I don't think this one's going to go to time.
It doesn't seem likely.
So I'll explain the new rules because I'm very interested to explain this to people because it really seems very L5R in how they're going to deal with the thing, in how they're going to deal with games going to time.
So Owen's coming in with 4 political strength. Yeah, the way the crab is in his hand.
Yeah, and maybe that was the card he was trying to protect.
It makes sense. It must have been.
Such a powerful card, and it's going to be so influential. And with the board that he had, I mean,
his board is so developed now. This is about as big as boards can get in this game that I've seen in the games I've played. So he's not. Oh no, the Wandering Road is defending. Okay.
He's kind of hamstrung at the moment. He has to contest.
He does.
Especially if it's going to be air.
And this is why bidding 5 like that is rarely worth it. Because you wind up in this position. It takes a few turns, but ultimately you wind up in this exact position every time. So like you can bid 5 if you're very confident your opponent will also bid 5. But even if you're hungry for cards, take 2, take 3. Taking 5, just if they bid 1 and a smart player will. Yeah, especially against Crab who have a little bit of dishonor support. If you do it against Scorpion, you're just dead.
Oh yeah. And I mean,
so he's going to rout by the looks of things to try and keep this. So he's going to pump up step 1.
It also means that. I mean, this is you could.
Oh, and it's negated.
Yeah, it's negated. That I think that
so
is
he's
the right
doing
play.
that. He's doing that so that he can burn the Casada effect.
So that his effects from hand will actually have some impact. I mean, fate is not a problem for either player at this moment in time.
Yuzuki. Owen has a ton of card draw on the table now. Like, I mean, he had his Funeral Pyre last turn. He's gotten 2 resolutions off the Shrewd Yuzuki. He's going to draw another card from the Imperial Storehouse.
Yeah. And this is what I was saying. Card draw is king. So if you can, in card games, in this game especially, you do have access to cards at a high cost by using the bidding mechanic. Or if you have cards in your deck that are going to draw you stuff during the course of the game, you're going to be those cards are almost drawn without cost. Well, no cost to your honor, at least. You're not going to lose the game for drawing these cards. So this is what Owen. He's had a moment in the middle of the game.
So we're seeing the route come down to send the Atomo Courtier home. Off she goes. Nothing she can do about that. Interesting thing about send home in this game, all of it sends home unbowed.
Yeah.
So using it on defense is not powerful in the way that it would be in the minds of an L5R CCG player. Because all you're doing is giving them more strength for later in the turn. It's very powerful on offense because it lets you break provinces and take uncontested battles. But using it to hold off Owen like this, it's really, unless it's on Owen's second conflict and you know he's not coming back. And with the Atomo Courtier, actually, it's better because she's dash military. She's not coming back military later. But she can defend now. Send home means something different than it used to. So Owen is losing the battle right now. But even if he loses this battle, remember his real goal here is to take air.
Yeah, this is a feint. This is sort of just to draw cards out of Terry's
the Imperial
hand.
Storehouse. And he's bowed his Wandering Ronin. Just by defending the Wandering Ronin is bowed.
Yeah. And you can see that he just drew a route, right?
So that's did he just draw another route? So that was the shameful display going off, honoring the Wandering Ronin and dishonoring the Yuzuki. That's going to reduce the Yuzuki to 0, I believe. No, to 1 politics. But the Wandering Ronin will be beating him now, where he wasn't before. He's 0 glory, so being honored doesn't do him. Although actually it does do something important in that when he leaves play, Terry's going to gain a point of honor.
Okay.
Which, given his circumstance, so Owen has re-honored his Yuzuki with a court games by the looks of things.
Yeah.
So Owen, because attackers win ties in the L5R card game.
Smart play by Owen. It means that Terry...
we're seeing Kitsuki's method come down for +2 politics.
For me, this is just a feint from Owen.
There's admit defeat. Oh, it's also a feint that's going to work. So admit defeat, a powerful crane card that bows a defender if they're the only one. There's nothing in Terry's deck, Phoenix splashing dragon, that's going to let him unbow that guy.
No,
he's done.
No,
he's done.
So the thing here is, Owen's going to claim the ring. He's going to bow out another one of Terry's cards.
Yep, he's going to bow the... I don't know. So this is his political conflict. So it'd be lovely if he could bow the set boon and stop him defending politically, because he's dashed. But
interestingly, if Owen breaks the province here, if he has something in his hand that can help him to break the province, and now that's unlikely, I would say.
No, there's very little.
A bonsai
fan, so it's very low strength province. He only needs +1.
+1.
Yeah,
okay.
It's a 3-strength province.
Oh, okay.
If he has an ornate fan, that would do it.
Oh, because this is a military, or this is political. This is political. So it would be an ornate fan, or if he had, has he
what
played?
Are we seeing? Assassin. Oh, okay. We must have the honor total. Oh no, he's conceding.
Oh, he's conceding.
Yeah,
okay, he plays assassinate, goes to 0 honor, and essentially that is the concession. So good first game here. Owen Hatamoto Burke is still maintaining his
crushing dreams.
Drinking the tears of his opponents.
So this is what happens when you bid 5 on turn 1. This is a valuable learning experience for you and everybody watching at home. Cards are lovely. Cards are tempting. Bidding 5 on turn 1 puts you in a bad place.
I think this will be a classic mistake, a learning curve mistake of old L5R players. Like, you would be greedy. You would be like foaming at the mouth for 5 cards in
it's only honor. I'm not trying to win by honor. Everything's fine.
It's going to be fine. I start on like 11. I've never seen the dizzying heights of 11 as a Mantis player or Crab player or whatever it was in the old game. In this game, honor swings so quickly, and it's so impactful when you get low, because everyone can make you lose. Everyone can make you lose honor, but just by claiming air or having uncontested provinces.
This is the killer instinct that makes Owen Hatamoto.
It
that
is.
He's prepared to come to this tournament with a bunch of people who don't. So he has tournament experience.
Yeah.
He's played, I think, 12 grueling rounds over 2 days at Gen Con. And the number of times he's seen this exact scenario happen.
Yeah.
It's sharks in a sea of chum going, I know on turn 1 you're going to bid 5 because you want cards. I'm going to bid 1, and then I can just put on the sleeper hold and keep it in. I don't need to win the long game. I can dishonor you out because you're going to let me. Because you don't know that I can.
Yeah, I mean, it's experience. It's tournament experience, and that's the most important thing. Just change the view to. So yeah, and I was going to explain there the rules for this tournament.
Yes,
the tiebreakers, exactly. The tiebreakers for this tournament. So what we're going to have is, at the end of the draw phase, if we're going to time, at the end of the draw phase, or at the end of the deciding who gets the Imperial favor, both players, the active player first, will get the first option to concede or pass. And if they decide to concede, if either player decides to concede, that will be a full win. So that will be worth 5 points, which increases your strength of schedule if you lose, or gives you the full 5 points if you win, which is, pretty cool. If the active player passes, that opportunity to concede then goes to the other player. So both players get the opportunity to have a moment to themselves, maybe try and figure the things out, have a little think about the game state, about what they want to do, how they want to play the game. This is very important as I would say, as an old L5R player.
It matters, yeah. Seen some, like there's some great concession stories out there, but yeah, giving people that opportunity to do the right thing.
So
no more conceding, demanding concession or double loss. I'm not rolling. I'm not rolling.
So there will be no dice rolls. This is one of the good things. No dice rolls. But if neither player decides to concede, what then happens is you then count up the tie-breaking points. So tie-breaking points, you get 2 points for each province taken, 2 points for having the highest honor, and 1 point for having the imperial favor. If at the end of the game you are 5 points ahead of your opponent in these points,
tiebreakers,
in this tiebreaker, you can call a judge and then say, okay, I'm 5 points ahead. Let's figure this out. I've probably won. I think this should be an unmodified win. So 5 points gets you that bracket. This can be contested somewhat. So the judge, from my interpretation of what I've been told, this can be contested because there can be a situation where
sure, yeah, like
a player's on 1 honor.
The
but you're 5
obvious
points
one
ahead.
for me is Unicorn.
Yeah,
are excellent at applying early pressure, and it'll be very common against Unicorn, kind of as of old, even without the old cavalry mechanic. For a Unicorn player to take 3 provinces really quickly, and then lose 5 turns later. But that would mean, say if you go to time after 3 turns and you're 3 provinces down because you haven't gotten off the back foot yet. And you go, no, but he's Unicorn. He's going to run out of gas next turn. So it's reasonable that there's that.
Or you could have the scenario where
that wiggle room there, I guess.
Your opponent is on 1 honor. We've seen in that game right there. If that game goes to time, Owen has the even.
Spicier the takes, gentlemen.
It could be spicier. Come in.
So we're going to actually have Owen join us. So
do you want to give? So we did our best to provide an analysis of that game. We couldn't read absolutely every card because there was a bit of glare. But if you want to come in and give us your perspective. Andy says that your man bidding 5 on turn 1 was a good idea.
Crazy talk.
I said it at the time. Owen, how are you doing? Congratulations.
Thank you,
on the
Andy.
win.
Thank you.
We were talking at the beginning of the game how the Hatamoto title works and how you attain one. How was it getting your Hatamoto title at Gen Con? Was it a grueling experience?
It was, not just for length, emotionally as well. You were going, oh man, the pressure built and built. Like it was a casual tournament in a lot of ways, but the pressure built and built and built as the rounds go on. You were walking around making outrageous promises to yourself. Okay, if I win this, I'll do this, or win this, I'll do that. If I win this, I'll go to Worlds, I promise, And yeah, it was intense, and you're kind of trying to walk it through, like literally go for a little walk, try to calm yourself down, drink some water, eat something, and just keep calm, keep regular, just like, just breathe, everybody, breathe. Don't let the performance anxiety get too much to you, And you're then like at the last round, you're like, oh, shh. Okay. Breathe, So it's good fun.
So in that game, I learned just at the beginning of this, if you have a Hatamoto title and someone beats you, they get the special pin. Yeah. You don't lose your title.
No. There's basically a smaller version of this pin, which is for beating Hatamoto. And if you beat a Hatamoto in a Kodai level or higher event, you get a little Hatamoto Slayer pin. And then I have one, and I get one for every big event I go to. And I give that pin out at a local event. I go, okay, the first person to beat me at this tournament gets this pin. So they're going to be a little badge, little literal badge of honor.
So do you feel like going into that game against Terry? You know Terry.
Yes.
You've been part of the same clan structure for quite a long time.
So Terry plays. He used to play Scorpion a lot. I think he's switching over to Phoenix now for a bit, or I think I'm not sure, but he used to play Scorpion. I know, and that was his first game. He watched some games online, and I was kind of like, okay, well, how nice am I going to be, And I said, well, okay, we'll just call it down the middle. I won't, If he was having trouble figuring out the rings, I would have been like, okay, well, that's the one you go for.
He seemed to play rather smoothly, actually.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think he. Well, I mean, he's an experienced player anyway, and there is still a bit of L5R DNA left in the game. And I think he'd watched enough to go, yeah, I kind of understand how the rings go. But he was going, this is great. The Hatamoto round 1, on the feature table. This is amazing.
It's always a low pressure situation doing that kind of thing.
Yes.
So did you feel any pressure, any hangover pressure, having the Hatamoto title, trying to defend it against a veteran player in Terry? Was there any feeling like, do you feel deep down, oh, no, what happens if I lose? I don't want to lose. I don't want to ever lose to anyone and give away these pins.
I don't want to lose. I will lose when it happens. A lot of great players here. I will most likely lose, like, drop a game or two, or maybe 3. Hell, I could go 1-4 from here. You know, could happen. So you want to try and win. You want to live up to the title, because even for me, I felt little pangs of regret when I was going, oh, should I concede this round when I was going to drop from the Friday tournament at Gen Con? I was like, oh man, I feel bad about dropping because I'm giving up a win. And I was like, oh, and that's a tangible benefit now.
Yeah,
so there is a little bit of extra pressure, not a massive amount, just a little bit of extra pressure riding on it, because, you know, you're kind of going, you're a slightly bigger name sort of thing, and you're a bigger scalp to take as well.
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely.
So, yeah.
So how did you feel about that game? I mean, where do you think the critical points were for you in that game?
I got turn 1 Casada, and at that point I began to abuse him. Now, he had a good play in that he dropped Cloud the Mind and Casada, and I was like, well, no, okay, I'm still a 7-2 beat stick, and I will still run over there and take a province. I was kind of fishing for Kuro Morai.
Yeah,
I was trying to figure out where it was, and I was really happy the way I hit it when I did. Because I was happy enough, because I went, okay, well, I've got 2 Assassinates. What I'll do is I'll only let him get 1 ring, which will keep the favor unclaimed round 1. And I was going, he's only got 2 guys, cool. It means I can assassinate that guy whenever I want, really. He's 0 glory, so he can't. Well, he could have used his box to take to do no challenge and then take the favor, but he didn't. So I was like, okay, grand. So we end this one where I've taken a province. He's taken a province, fine, because I managed to get fate control in that I stripped a fate off the Wandering Ronin. And that meant when he used it, I was like, okay, awesome. That means that the Wandering Ronin is going away this turn. He's got no board. I've got Gasada with a fate left on him at the start of the next turn. And I'd left guys in provinces that I was like, cool, this means that I get a bunch of chuds to come up and fight with Casada. And from there, I was able to keep pressure up the whole time. I was pressuring his honor down because he bid 5, I bid 1, and that put him on 7.
7, yeah.
And then you just start to hemorrhage honor from that point, because I can just keep going. If it's undefended, you lose 1. If it's
if you claim air,
yeah. If I hit fire and dishonor a guy, yeah, it just puts a tremendous amount of pressure on the guy, and yeah, it's tough. He was in a bad position. He had Sakune in his province and he mulliganed her away, and that's an old L5R player instinct.
Yeah,
you don't want to bring him
yeah,
out on champion turn 1 because I can't. But in this game, like, Sakune turn 1 would have made that a much more difficult matchup for me.
Absolutely. I would have said so. So at a certain point of the game, I think it was on turn 2 or turn 3, he was trying to claim Earth.
Yes.
I think it was turn 2. Turn 2, he's trying to claim Earth. He saw you at a disadvantage in terms of cards in hand. It felt for us, because we couldn't see what you had in hand, that you were trying to protect something that you had in your hand, that you were contesting the Earth Ring for a reason.
So my thoughts there was, I said, he's probably got a conflict guy because he's got 3 fate. And I said, okay, well, what we're going to do here is we're going to defend, even though the province flipped. I said, right, I could hit Kuro Morai if I attack with the Berserker, which means that instantly the Berserker gets sent home. So I said, right, it's better off to actually defend with the Berserker in this situation. And if I need to, I could Water Ring on the swing back with my 2 courtiers, get the Water Ring and straighten the Berserker if I need him. And then he played the conflict guide, and I was like, awesome, cool, we'll just start playing cards in here. And that was the main ring. I was trying to deny him. Basically, my goal there was really actually to grab the favor. Because if you have the favor, the Atomos and the Seppins are amazing. Because they're 1 cost, 2 strength, and they can attack and defend. Whereas if you don't have the favor, they're really poor, because they only can defend, and that really limits what conflict they can be in. So it gave me the option to go, awesome, I can just, I've got additional strength in a politics challenge, I've got other stuff I can do, and it puts me in a very strong position, basically. And I've got the Yasuki out, and I had a province holding firm each turn, and that's massive, because that gives you huge, basically, even though I was bidding 1 every game, I got to a stage where I had the same number of cards in hand as him. Because he bid 5, he bid 2, he bid 1, I bid 1, 1, 1. And we ended with the same number of cards in hand. Because I got the Yasuki to draw, I got the Funeral Pyre, the Saka guy to draw, and then I had the Imperial Storehouse in the next turn. I was like, this is perfect. Absolutely perfect. It just keeps board pressure up, keeps me flood of cards coming into my hand. It's not coming in the draw phase, sure, but they're dripping and drabbing in. And I was still effectively, those 2 turns I effectively bid 3, despite bidding 1.
Yeah.
And the trickle honor, like he assassinated himself out of the game because like I'm not going out like this. I've been nickeled and dimed to death. And I was like, oh, fair enough, you know.
Because you were going to have the honor loss there. You were going to have another conflict potentially
I was
uncontested.
going to water and bow the send home courtier, and that meant that
he only had one.
Guy
left
to defend with,
Yeah.
and he could attack with him, but he's going to defend with him. And then I was probably going to go on a strong, which is probably +5 strength against military, but I had the Casada, I had the Berserker, I had the Seppen Guardsman, which gives me 12, and then I can weigh the crab my guy at home to just double the force of the guy. So I could go up another 3 if I needed to, and I had a route to send home whoever he defended with. So he was in a tight spot anyway. I think he probably lost that turn anyway. Probably.
I would have said so too. You seemed very much in control at the end of the game. Anyway, Owen, I'm going to let you go.
Absolutely.
Have a great a little bit of time off, a little bit of a break now.
Hopefully.
And a masterclass, I would say, and well explained. So anybody out there who's looking to play the game and wants an insight into the strategy of playing the game, listening to what Owen was saying there, really, really good way to understand the complexity and all of the things you have to have in your head in terms of how to play this game and how to win. Owen, thank you very much.
Man.
My friend from the Imperial Advisor, check it out. It's one of the best L5R streams you could possibly have.
And bonus beaver facts.
And bonus beaver, never forgetting those. Never forgetting those. Thanks again, Owen. Take care.
Getting a expert level seminar there from one of the masters of the game.
It was something to behold, I would say. It was very, very interesting. I mean, it's interesting the way the depth of thought that needs to go into the new game. Like
it's devastating.
It is. Like the toll it takes on you as a player has to be immense.
It's one of the most taxing games I've ever played. The number of the number of decision points, and the number of options you have at each of those decision points is just there's this like compound effect.
Yeah.
Where there's just like you can't calculate it. There's too much going on. It's a remarkably draining game. Yeah. Which is it means it's very high skill ceiling, which is good.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it also means there's a bit of a learning curve at the start. Like we see things like someone bidding 5 honor on turn 1, something maybe you shouldn't do all the time.
Yeah, maybe not a good idea, as we saw there.
But yeah, it's a remarkably taxing game.
Yeah, I know for sure. I would say I'd rate myself as an average old L5R
You're a very
player.
good deck builder, I'll give you that.
Oh, thank you, Jack. Thank you.
As a player, deck builder, excellent deck builder. You had a great eye for seeing the broken stuff.
Hopefully I'll be able to do that again. But I think in this game it will take me personally a while to get the flow.
It's going to take everyone a while, and if you're a Netrunner player or a Game of Thrones player, I think you're going to have an easier time acclimatizing to this game than if you're an L5R CCG veteran, because as L5R CCG veterans, we have certain instincts.
You and
I, we both played the game for 15 years.
Yep.
We both competed very intensely.
I would say so.
And you internalize a lot of the logic structures of how the game operates, and what the right plays are, and you develop an intuition for it.
Yep.
All of those intuitions are now wrong.
They're gone.
No, they're not.
They're actually contradictory to what you should be doing.
What you should be doing and what you feel like you should be doing. You're being pulled in 2 different directions, and you've got a lot of stuff you need to unlearn if you want to succeed in this game.
Thankfully, I've been very good at unlearning things throughout my entire life, so I should be in an okay spot.
You made a habit of it, have you?
I've made it a talent. I've made it a talent of mine.
But I think the biggest shift in gears for me was the extent to which in this game you never have the resources or the options to do everything you want to do.
Yeah.
Like in the CCG, you'd spend the first few turns ramping up until you sort of hit that level of economy that your deck was designed to survive off. And from that point onward, you could buy everything you wanted to buy, and you could do all the attacks that you wanted to do. Even if you were doing them with less strength than you'd like, or if you were keeping fewer defenders than you wanted. In this game, and it feels very deliberate, sort of baked into the. Maybe it's to do with the limited card pool too, but in this game, It's the exact opposite.
Yeah.
You never, because the economy is flat, it doesn't ramp up over time. You have your 7 fate a turn, you get whatever your extra you're pulling down from your rings or from passing first. But you have a very limited pool of resources to buy things with, and that includes playing cards from your hand, that includes buying guys from your provinces, that includes you know, everything you want to do with your fate. And then, on top of that, because you need to hold back fate to play your actions and to keep the thread of your actions open, you're not buying enough guys. And then the way you have to do, you don't have to, you have the option to do 2 separate conflict phases, and your opponent has the option to do 2 separate conflict phases. And one of the big learning points for me with this game, one of the things, like, I was losing a lot when I first started playing with my other friends who'd played more than I had, and they were like, there was just something about the way they were playing. I did like, how is it that they're thrashing me so comprehensively? And a friend of mine, Rob Curtin, who's actually playing here today, very strong CCG player of old, he said, you don't really have the resources to do more than 2 conflicts a turn. In like certain swing turns where you've got a few guys left over from last turn and you have a big swoosh of guys onto the board sometimes. But in turn 1 and turn 2, maybe turn, it depends on the ebb and flow of the game, trying to do more than 2 conflicts a turn and planning to do more than 2 conflicts a turn and reaching to do more than 2 conflicts a turn, you're stretching yourself very, very, very thin. But as CCG players, our instinct is, I attack, take provinces. That's how I'm going to win the game. And defend to stop him taking
do everything.
Exactly. And if you do that, you kill yourself. And there's ways, so many ways to kill yourself in this game. I'll harp on the 5 honor bid one more time. Bidding 5 honor on turn 1 is a way to kill yourself in this game. Trying to do too many conflicts. Spending all your fate in the dynasty phase is a way to kill yourself in this game. And there's a point every turn during the dynasty phase where the player who passes first, stops buying things first, gets 1 fate. And there are so many times where you're looking at your provinces and there's 3 things you want to buy, and you're looking at their provinces and there's however many things they want to buy. And you know that you need that 1 fate. But you also know that you need, like, I want to buy all this stuff. But you need that 1 fate, and giving up, giving up dynasty production. Like, dynasty production was everything in the CCG. Absolutely everything. Like, I have 4 guys. I have the resources to buy all 4 of them. What else would I spend my fate on? This is great. Flood the board with guys. Awesome. No, buy 1 guy and pass. Stop, deny, because it's a 2 fate swing. It's the fate they're not getting. It's the fate you are getting. And that 1 fate, it adds up over turns. It lets you have a bigger turn next time. It lets you play your hand more freely. Especially because you don't know what you're going to draw until after you spent your fate.
Very true.
So you do your dynasty phase, and then you go, like, say you're planning on bidding 3 this turn, drawing 3 more cards. You know what roughly the average cost of cards in your deck is. You know what the spikes are and that kind of thing. What you need to be able to afford, what your outs are going to be, what lines you can follow. But you don't know for sure what you're gonna get. So you might draw 3 free cards, or you might draw a bunch of expensive conflict characters, and you've made all your spending decisions in advance. So unless you've put something in the bank for later,
you've got nothing in the tank for when you actually need to do something.
So you might draw 3 cards and find you can't use any of them. You're oh well, I fueled up, but this is useless. So there's just a lot to this game.
There is a lot. I think we can both agree that there is a lot.
And we're going to see that going forward as we get into the next rounds.
I think hopefully next round we get 2 players who are on a similar level of experience, actually. So we can see a bit more who... I think, as Owen said, that was Terry's very first game.
Oh, really?
It was his very first game of the LCG. So, I mean... We're talking about all of these things that you can look at. You can see the game as the old CCG player, L5R CCG player, and make all of these mistakes. Probably exactly what Terry was. And Terry's a good player. Don't get me wrong. Terry is a good player.
I'm seeing people. I'm seeing patterns, right? In terms of, especially with CCG veterans coming in and going, I'm going to play the way I'm used to playing. And I'm going to try and take the advantages I think are the advantages that would work.
That's how I would play.
Exactly, and that's how everyone.
That's how won me games back in the day.
Everyone who sits down to play, who's got that pedigree, is making the same mistakes. So someone like Owen or Justin Walsh or John Butler, or other people who were at Gen Con, who've got that tournament experience, who've seen all these mistakes being made, are going to be able to capitalize in a really big way, because you know, once you played a couple of games, you solve this stuff. But for people who are literally just sitting down with the game for the first time today, there's just so many pitfalls.
Yeah.
There's so many ways to lose yourself the game early on.
Yep.
Which you learn, you know, you accommodate for, and you once you've played a few games, you get the hang of it a little bit. It's like I said, it's a brain-meltingly difficult game, but you know, I'm not sure anyone in the world has a handle on it yet, really.
No, I wouldn't say so. And plus, we've only seen the 30-30 format in a tournament.
Yeah.
So we've only seen a small slice of what the game has to offer in terms of all of the richness and all of the dynamics that you're going to see in the decks, in the meta, in anything that we could hope for this game. I think, is it the World Championships that's we're going to see that
in
as
November?
The first?
That's the first major constructed tournament.
So, I mean, that's going to be an interesting one to see, because that's really going to define what this game actually is and what it means to be the L5R, the LCG. What is this game?
And we're going to see, like by then, everyone will have had their hands on the cards for a while, and we're going to see that those initial pitfalls, maybe not solved completely,
but ironed out.
But there'll
somewhat.
be a standard way to play by then.
Yes. I feel like they'll standardize relatively quickly, because this is remember, by and large, I would say this is a very veteran player base, where we're getting.
You're either getting LCG vets, Thrones, and Netrunner, or you're getting CCG vets.
Yeah, CCG vets from L5R, maybe some Magic players. You're getting guys who definitely know how these games work.
And it's a game that's designed for that kind of player.
Yeah.
You know, you don't make a game with this level of complexity for
the casual.
Well, for like people who play at the kitchen table, you know, it's not a kitchen table game. It's a.
Well, I mean, actually, I think this is a game that could be played at the kitchen table. It's a game that can be intensely fun, with very little skill, I would say, or knowledge of CCGs, LCGs in general.
I know that's true, I suppose.
Because thematically, I think it is one of the strongest that I've seen. One of the strongest games.
For sure, yeah. No, some of the flavor in the design is wonderful.
It's a really, and it's a very good-looking game. It's a beautiful game to play. I really enjoy it.
The production is gorgeous.
The production value of the game is really nice. I mean, it's a really well put together game.
And that's like, I mean, it's Fantasy Flight, right? So you're going to get good production values, you're going to get good art. But with L5R, you know, it was always a beautiful game.
Yep.
And to see that particular legacy respected and upheld and continued is great, because the game is just beautiful. Yeah,
it's really nice. And I do hope that we see a lot more people just playing, a lot more of the kitchen table type players. I really think that that's something that this game could really benefit from, being a lot more open to, because I know that the old L5R CCG, the complexity of the game was something that turned a lot of players off. And I hope that this game has, as Justin so rightfully explained to me on our stream, there's a difference between complication and complexity. So this game is complex, but not complicated. It's actually mechanically reasonably simple.
It's easy enough to learn.
It's easy enough to learn.
It's you know, it's not easy to learn, hard to master. It's medium to learn, hard to master. Like it's not like Hearthstone simple, you know.
Yeah.
It's a complex game.
It is.
There is little bits of bookkeeping that you have to learn. There's little bits of mechanical procedure that you need to know.
Yeah.
Like the number of times I assign to attack a province and my opponent is assigning their defenders before we flip the province, or forgetting to put fate on the rings at the end of the turn. There's a lot of little procedures that you have to learn, but none of them are especially arcane.
No.
The complexity of the game definitely comes in trying to make the right decision.
Yes, of course. And making that, as you were saying, you have so many lines of play, you have so few resources in order to make one of those lines of play work. Deciding the intrinsic value of one line of play versus the extrinsic value of, you know, what do I actually have to pay for it. So the cost-benefit ratio, maybe I'm getting a bit too...
No. You said it's a veteran player base. I'm sure everyone's very interested.
So, I mean, the thing is, for me, understanding the value of every line of play, because this is one of the hidden depths of the old L5R as well. And one of the most complicated things in old L5R was assignment.
The difference between a good player and a great player.
Exactly. We've discussed this at length. assignment was one of the big skills there. I think here, assessing the value of your line of play, not in terms of just fate or what's going to cost you from cards in hand. Those two things are important, obviously. But it's the benefit that you're going to get from each individual action that you do, the cost it's going to have on you, and then the cost it's going to have. And these ramifications going on not just immediately, but in further turns as well. Using fate early, using honor, spending honor early, like we saw in the game with Terry and Owen, costing you late in the game by restricting all of the actions that you can do and the ways that you can play. It's the ramifications that you have of your early actions and your early resource management and decisions.
There's a huge domino effect towards a lot of every. Like I said, that one fate you get for passing, if you do that 2 turns in a row,
you're up 4 fate.
You're up 4 fate, and you feel the difference.
Yeah.
I think like it's helpful to consider, like, talk about the complexity of the game. Just the dynasty phase on its own. And we'll try not to compare it to the CCG too much, but you look at it, so it's the start of the turn, you've got 7 points of resources to spend, you've got 4 things to spend them on. Which do you buy first, in case you need to pass quickly? How much fate do you overspend by? How much fate are you holding back? If I'm buying this guy first, do I overspend now? Am I overspending over here? Like,
how much information about my strategy do I want to give to my opponent?
And
what I buy first?
How firmly am I fixing my line of play for the turn in? And how firmly, and how, to what extent am I leaving myself options? Because, like that game we just watched, Owen's first turn was Casada 2 fate.
He's all in.
Like, it's massive, as you say, with Owen, massively decisive. But if something goes wrong, like now in this scenario,
hard for anything to go.
Well, just with the matchup, I would say Owen 100% made the correct play.
Oh, absolutely.
Casada's here, deal with it.
Interesting,
but like when I'm thinking more in terms of a 40-40 game with properly constructed decks, where everybody has access to all of their tools and options.
Sorry, our streaming computer screen just went blank there. We both got this momentary anxiety. What do we do? What do we do?
Turned out moving the mouse was enough. But when you're looking at a 40-40 environment where everyone has access to all their tools, all their options, Dynasty phase gets very complicated. And it's simple stuff. It's like, I buy this guy, I overspend by a little bit. But it's not simple at all.
There's no frivolous actions in this game.
Exactly, that's
nothing
it. Exactly.
Nothing is
everything
throwaway.
Matters. Everything matters.
Which is very. I think it makes every single decision, and that's why you're saying it makes it so intense and so tiring and so taxing as a game. And that's taxing in a good way. I mean, we all relish this.
Masochists. A room full of masochists out there.
We love
this sounds great.
challenge.
Playing 6 hours of intense concentration. All right.
I mean, I don't know how you used to feel, but in tournaments when I was playing, I wouldn't eat or
tunnel
drink.
Vision.
The tunnel vision happens.
The cone of silence.
It's just you get the earmuffs on, you get the blinkers on, and you are so zoned in on that thing that you forget about. For me, at least, I would forget about any physical need that I would have. I'd get out of a game, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh God, I need to. I'm so hungry.
I remember being in Barcelona, sending runners to bring me water at the tech. I can't stand up. I can't go for a break. I'm in the zone here, guys. Someone get me a bottle of water. And watching my friends, because it's L5R, we're a community people take care of, like sprinting off to the shop to get water. And it's something worth mentioning that we haven't yet. It's great to see everyone again.
I know. This is one of the best things. This is the reason I wanted to come here this weekend. I didn't get an invite. I didn't actually apply for an invite. It was my own failing as a player.
Wallflower.
I know. But I was just super happy to come here as a spectator, and even more happy to come here as a commentator. Get to spend some time with my old buddy Jack. And
you're not my friend. We love each other, really.
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure.
But like the community aspect of L5R has always been so strong.
It has,
and it's all like it's for so long. It held the game together under AEG. For years.
I would say so.
L5R is the only game with comparable longevity in CCG terms is Magic. L5R came a year after Magic, and it survived for 20 years. No other CCG.
That's
ridiculous.
That's
infinite time. And it did so because of the strength of the community, because of the sense of respect that people have for each other, the sense of love, really, that exists. You know, you go out in the room and there's people you haven't seen in 2 years, and it's heartwarming to see them again. And it's always been a very welcoming community. You know, if you're into cosplay, if you're into role-playing, if you're into LARPing, if you're into card games, you know, it's a big tent, L5R. It always has been very welcoming, very friendly, and, you know, once you join the community will embrace you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's great to see Fantasy Flight supporting that and recognizing the value of that community with events like this and things like the Hatamoto, which is such a community-driven reward.
Oh, it's great. I really, really enjoy what they're doing there.
Because, you know, what is it? It's a pin. It doesn't mean much. It only means the respect that other people give you, you know. And that's something that L5R players are, you know, they're not just willing to give it. They want to give it.
Yeah. And I think thinking back to a younger version of myself when I first started playing these kind of games, when I first started playing L5R back in the day, if someone came into the store, I remember like Justin Walsh, former world champion at L5R, incredible player, very good human being too, even though we despise him.
And so should you.
And so should you, everyone. I mean, I hope you never meet this guy.
Black-hearted villain has ever walked the earth. Cold,
shriveled heart. You couldn't even. It's hard to even look at the guy. It's hard to even look at him. I mean,
it's because he ages backwards.
He does. He does. Anyhow, we digress. Absolutely. So this guy, and I was maybe 15, 16 years old, coming into my local store, and Justin has this massive reputation. There's like an aura around the guy. He's got an entourage of people who respect him and say, "Oh, he's the best. He's the best." And I want to beat that guy. I want to bring my cards to the table. I want to go toe to toe.
Making friends and influencing people.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Hey, you, best player in the world. I want to play against you, and I want to beat you. To have the Hatamoto title and have to have it recognized, and to have this even mechanic where you can go into your local store and say, "Look, hey guys, come here and take me on.
Come at me, bro.
Come at me, bro." And you can give away something. You can give someone the pin and this little icon, this little memento that says, "Look, I beat someone who's really genuinely good at this game. This is so cool. This is so great."
No, but there was a concern when Fantasy Flight bought the game that the community side of things wouldn't be supported in the way that, you know, it was. And like, in fairness, you know, we make it easy enough. The community has been pretty self-sustaining.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of great event organizers, in particular, people like Jim Freeman, who organized the L5R, who's involved in organizing the L5R Honored event we're at today. People like Owen Burke, who's been, you know, carrying the Irish scene on his back for however many years. Going to contest that.
No.
You have to think about that.
We're getting some updates from our production team. So we're waiting on one game to finish,
and the next round will be starting soon.
So it should be
less of us sitting here being nostalgic and more in-depth analysis.
I mean,
hot takes.
Maybe actually we can take a look at the stream and see what our followers on Twitch, our viewers on Twitch are having to say about things.
Yeah, seems like a good idea.
Maybe address some things. Maybe they're telling us to shut the hell up.
Justin Walsh is a monster. From the one and only Liam Frost. He's not wrong. He's not wrong.
Good man, Frosty. So we're getting a select
unicorn match. Only one unicorn match was filmed at Gen Con. Well, I know Alex Watkins, who's the organizer here, is intending to showcase as many clans as possible.
We're
going
to
be seeing two totally different clans in the next round. Whoever the players may be. So we'll hopefully get a unicorn game to you today. I expect we like 7 clans, 5 rounds. The numbers are on our side.
Hopefully we'll get one of each clan. I mean, it would be really nice to see. We want to show you guys, and we want to see ourselves how the dynamics of the game work and how matchups are going to work against different people. So we want to see the thing too, and we want to commentate on it. We want to tell you guys about it.
I will say, Unicorn player, that if you're a hardcore Unicorn fan looking to see the Purple Ponies ride to victory, prepare yourself for disappointment. They are not especially strong in the 30-30 format. You know, there's the 30-30 format. It's a bit swingy in places. There's a reasonably calcified tier list.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, you've probably got Scorpion
and Dragon
at
the top, and Unicorn at the bottom. And most of the others sort of filtering around the middle with maybe Crab a little closer to the top.
I'd say
Crane
Crane closer to the top. Lion a little bit above average as well, I would say. Yeah. Pretty flexible. I
but Unicorn are down the bottom.
Unfortunately.
But that being said, I know at least one Unicorn player has gone 1-0 so far.
Is that
so? It's
Green?
not like they can't. Well, Matt Green, a very good player. Maybe he went 1-0 too. I know Steve McAuliffe, who I spent the last 24 hours trying to talk out of playing Unicorn, is now 1-0. Which good for him. So there are Unicorn players out there who are winning. It can be done. They're just their deck depends more on having access to all the tools than others do, because a lot of their abilities are locked behind the cavalry keyword, and when you're running a bunch of Atomo and Wandering Ronin, you don't have as much reliable access to it. But even so, like, you know, they can win. They have won. So
yeah, I mean, and that's something that we will see a lot more of. Being a good player and being
take you a long way. In this game especially.
It will take you a very long way. I mean,
if you can carve out 100 short edges over the course of a long game, you're going to win that game.
Exactly. If you can eke out maybe a few points of honor loss for your opponent, you're all of a sudden in a really good place to win. And we've seen it with the mistakes that you can make in the early game, drawing lots of cards, losing yourself a boatload of honor, maybe even playing an assassination, which is and that's the thing. It's a huge. What's the intrinsic value of playing an assassination? Losing that 3 honor but killing a guy. I mean, you'd think a normal L5R player like myself, I would think, okay, kill the guy. It's a no-brainer. But that 3 honor loss, that has ramifications.
Hefty. And like, remember the honor scale?
Yeah.
Is, you know, it used to be a 60-point scale running from -20 to 40. Now it's a 25-point scale running from 0 to 25. It's much less granular, and every point matters.
And there's so many ways you can get those little jabs, those little tiny jabs, uncontested provinces, claiming the Ring of Air, drawing maybe 1 or 2 more cards than your opponent in a turn.
John Butler is a very good player, and a very noteworthy Scorpion deck builder. Both of the Scorpion Hatamoto at Gen Con were playing his... No, one of them was playing a different deck list, but Mark Armitage, who went 7-0 the second day, was running John's list, and others who were very successful were running John's list. And he said something to me a while ago, which I found to be very insightful, which was, usually if you're paying a big cost, and he was talking about cards like Unicorns, Cavalry Reserves, but I think it applies to what you're saying about Assassination too, because the 3 honor cost really is
a big
deceptively high. It needs to be achieving more than just winning a battle. And that's the thing again, it's another one of those sort of instincts that CCG players need to get themselves out of, that winning a battle in the CCG was so decisive.
It was everything.
You gained so much and your opponent lost so much. Whereas winning battles here, it advances the game state, it gains you rings, but investing too heavily in just winning a battle, whereas before, if you invested if you committed to doing a battle, you had to invest everything in winning it, because if you didn't win it, you lost everything. Now you don't lose everything for losing. So if you invest everything in winning it, if you keep that mindset of must win every battle at all costs, and this ties back into what I was saying before of how you don't have the resources to do everything you want. Like Owen in that game, he threw out that, what we looked at as a feint. If he'd lost that, he won that battle as it turned out with the Yuzuki and the Wandering Ronin. If he'd lost it, he was still in a better position.
Absolutely.
Which is not something that an L5R CCG player is going to be used to.
No. This is a new game. It's the dawn of a new day.
So when you're playing your cards and when you're calculating your costs, it's not the same as before, where if I win this battle, or more to the point, if the cost of losing was so high. Now the cost of winning can be too high, which is insane to a CCG player. Winning a battle cannot be. Pyrrhic victories are a real thing in this game in a way that they never were before. And so with thinking about using Assassinate, how much value are you getting? If all you're doing is pushing a defender away, so you can get the ring, not worth it. Most of the time. Getting the ring and taking the province. Now we're talking getting the ring, taking a province, and maybe hampering his plan, because the game.
Or taking fate off a guy. Or
the game is. You have to have a plan in this area. Even though you're planning before you know all your options, you have to have this turn I'm going to try and do this conflict. I'm going to try and take these rings. I'm going to try and buy these guys. I'm going to try and have my board look like this at the end. You need to have a plan going in. The capacity to disrupt your opponent's plan is where games are won and lost. And the capacity to execute your own plan. a lot in your first few games. A lot of the time, you're going to be like, my plan is to take a province using this court games. I do a military conflict, and oh crap.
Oh shit! I guess I should read this card.
Yeah. And I've seen that happen to so many people.
Yeah.
Because it's just not how you're used to thinking.
Exactly.
But we're seeing it at the moment. But like beyond that, the ability to execute, like walking into your opponent's traps, playing around the things you know they can do. That's talking about the Unicorn Clan. That's, I think, a really distinctive feature of the Unicorn Clan in the L5R LCG is how they force their opponent to adapt to their playstyle.
Yeah.
Probably more so than any other clan. If you're playing against Unicorn, you have to play differently.
Yeah.
Which is cool to see, that kind of asymmetry.
Yep.
How one strategy, like, you know, thinking back to the L5R CCG, you had something like the classic crab deck. I buy 2 4/4 skies every turn. And I grind you out of the game slowly through the awesome power of efficiency. you can't have that single strategy for every matchup.
Yeah. There's no one size fits all strategy in this game. And maybe that's something that we'll see emerge a bit more with the 40-40 constructed
As
format.
things get more powerful, like probably. But even so, the capacities of the different clans to ruin your life in different ways.
Yeah.
They're coming at you from so many different directions. And it is fundamental stuff like how you manage your dynasty phase. Like, again, another good John Butler story talking about watching a game at Gen Con where one player buys, I think it was Shiba Sakune turn 1 with a load of fate. Into the crab player was the first player, and he bought the free crab guy. Phoenix player buys Sakune with 7 fate. And the crab player just goes, I don't have it. Referring to Way of the Crab. Because at that point, he goes, I kill my free guy with Way of the Crab to kill your 7 invested Sakune, and now I win the game. And his opponent looked at him and went, have what? So against Crab, for instance, it is not viable in either format. Like you shouldn't do it in 30-30, even though you're kind of more likely to get away with it because they only have one Way of the Crab. But in 40-40, you cannot against Crab. Turn 1, I buy my champ with loads of fate. Let's go, because they're going to blow him up. Against Scorpion, you can't really do that either. Against Unicorn, you can't attack with one valuable guy into a province. You have to send fodder along with him in case you're about to hit the Endless Plains. You have to keep in mind what your opponent might flip next turn. You know, if you're investing in something to try and keep them around, you go, well, what if he flips Alton Sarnai next turn and I don't have an Atomo courtier for her to eat when she breaks my provinces? So every clan will force you to play around it in different ways, but Unicorn have the most cards that work along, like they without having to do anything, just by the threat of the cards existing, your playstyle changes.
Pretty interesting. It's interesting stuff. Hopefully we get to see Unicorn come on stream pretty soon. We'll give you an update very, very shortly on what the next match is going to be. But I think for right now, it would be good to take a little bit of a break. And we'll be back to you very, very shortly with the next match. So stay tuned, guys. Hopefully we'll have a very exciting next match for you, and we'll be back very shortly.